Hey everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's www, not sure if anyone says that anymore, .theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Here's how this works. If you're new, first of all, welcome, thank you. Subscribe on YouTube, and if you're on the blog, subscribe on the blog. You don't want to miss out. I've got tons of stuff coming out all the time. I've got giveaways, I've got webinars coming out constantly. I give hoodies away to people who win contests. I'm not wearing the hoodie now, but I just literally came back from FedEx where I shipped some out. So subscribe, thank you, and send in your questions. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I'll keep you anonymous. Like this one here, it says, hey, I came across your website when researching more information regarding satellite sites and thought I'd pose a question. I heard of a new type of site where there are multiple locations for the same institution where functions are separated by locations. For instance, an institution would have seen patients at one location, regulatory at another, trial drug shipped to another, and so on. Are you familiar with this type of site? What is it called, and how might it be more beneficial? So this is rare. Usually SMOs, where you have like satellite sites, are one company that try to do the same study at various sites across the country. In this case, you're talking about having one site, but just this one site has multiple locations where different things are done. And I've actually seen this happen before. The most common example is when you have an inpatient study. So you'll have part of the study being an outpatient trial where the study participants will come to your clinic. Part of the study will be an inpatient portion of the trial where the study participants have to stay overnight in a hospital for a certain amount of time. And so these places are usually not in the same location. So that's one example of this. Now, to add another layer of complexity, sometimes companies do research studies in doctors' offices, but then they handle the regulatory stuff at their corporate headquarters, and they take care of the contracts and budgets from their corporate headquarters or another location, and then they might store the documents after the study's done somewhere else. And so that's probably as close as you'll get, but I've never heard of an institution where patients are seen at one location, regulatory done at another, and trial drug shipped to another. Usually the trial drug is kept at the site where the patients are seen. If the drug is not kept at the site where the patients are seen, you have an extra layer of complexity of transporting the IP. And if you're doing this on a daily basis, you'll need daily transportation logs, and that comes along with tracking the temperature when you're transporting them. So I haven't heard of that, but I have heard of one study being done at one site and them having a few locations. Like I said, the most common example is the inpatient study. The inpatient portion of the study is done somewhere else, the outpatient portion is done somewhere else, and maybe the regulatory and contracts are done somewhere else. So that would be 3 locations for one trial and one company. But that's about as much as I've heard of. The drug being stored somewhere else sounds kind of crazy to me. I'd be surprised if that's happening, although I'm sure it is somewhere in the US. So thank you for your questions. I like them. They're interesting. Keep them coming, and thanks for watching. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.